Hey, it's Ryan Patrick here at Peak Fitness and Sports Training. Today we're going to talk about the TRX row. It's one of our favorite exercises using early on in programs because it can accommodate people of all levels, whether we've got an advanced client who's been training with us for a while, or we have a true beginner who really needs some practice learning how to move their shoulder blades. This exercise is fantastic for lots of reasons, and we're going to talk about 3 points today that I think a lot of people kind of mess up when it comes to executing this exercise. So the first one is they tend to over row, and what that means is they're going to be leaning back and either pull too far forward here so that we get some rounding of the shoulders, or they're going to keep their chest out and row too far back. Either way, we're going to run into some problems. We want to keep that upper arm bone, the humerus, even with your body. If we go past your torso, we get this kind of forward humeral head popping out in the shoulder, and it's just gnawing away at the socket. Not really a good situation. If we keep our chest proud in the over row, we tend to go into a lot of rib flare. So those ribs pop open, the pelvis tilts down, and we basically create a big dead zone at the core. Also not an ideal situation. So when we're rowing, the first cue I really want you to focus on is keeping your elbows even with your body and thinking about tucking those shoulder blades back. Anything more or less than that is going to be problematic. So that's your first cue. Second cue, in an effort to keep this exercise as family friendly as possible, we want no humping. And what I mean is, when you're leaning back, we want to keep your body in a nice straight plank position, not humping the hips forward as we go up. Okay? We get a little too much pelvic thrusting, turning this into a totally different exercise, putting a lot of pressure on your low back. Also, not an ideal exercise. Last one, no head banging. Okay? So we see a row where people want to row with their head, their eyes are looking where they're rowing, and they drop forward. So take control of your head. We want to keep it in a nice neutral spine position so we're not head banging back and forth as we go throughout this exercise. What I see a lot of is people will row and that head really comes forward because they're trying to jut their chin out and reach the exercise. Or when they get to the bottom, it drops back. So spare your neck. The problem of going back and forth like this, keep it in a nice neutral position. But if you put these three together, I think it's going to be a much more successful row for you. Keep the shoulders, keep the upper arm even with your body, no humping, no head banging. Those are your 3 cues for a perfect TRX row.